What's up, everybody? Lefty here. Today, my guest is Kate Pollock.
Yeah.
And it's a genuine pleasure because she was the first person to be able to help me when I had questions about how to help my son relating to using CBD and kind of helping him kind of be able to calm down so that he can learn more, and he's autistic. So my main goal was just trying to figure out how I can get better at it. And she was my first person that I talked to that helped me. So Kate, thank you for having me at your house. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course. So just to kind of get into it, I wanted to ask how you got into Green Compass and how did that all develop for you into where like you use it here in your home, and how did that happen?
Yeah, well, ever since Owen was diagnosed, like I've been the constant researcher with autism. He has autism, he has since he was 2. So I was really interested in CBD for a long time, but you know, it's doctors don't want to talk about it, and
Right.
that's getting better. But so
It was like frowned upon.
Yeah, it was like just complete misconception, and everyone thinks it's marijuana, but what I use is hemp, and it's a completely different thing. So the way we describe that, I'll just say that really quickly, like you can think of like wine. So wine is made from grapes, right? So you have the grape plant, and then you have wine. So wine is like the marijuana, and then you have grape juice, so that would be the hemp.
Right.
So it's the cannabis plant, but there's marijuana and there's hemp. So this is hemp. And actually a friend introduced, Erin Robbins is her name, and now that I mention it, I haven't talked to her in years, but she introduced me to Green Compass. We were selling something together, Color Street, I guess, nails. And she introduced that to me, and I'm really, I can be impulsive. I'm also like really open-minded when it comes to something natural. And I was reading the ingredients. I'm really careful with ingredients. I want everything to be organic. I'm really concerned with sources and things. So when I researched about this company, it sounded so great. You know, they come from North Carolina, they're farms, everything's organic, and it's just farm to person. There's no store. And the woman who developed Green Compass is a mom, and she actually had postpartum depression really badly, and she was trying to find a natural way to help that, and so that's how they developed that. But
so it was self-use that she was looking for,
yeah,
and then it spawned
she was
into
trying all kinds of different brands
adjust this here.
and was realizing there's a lot out there, but there's not a lot of good out there. In our opinion, and it shows statistically now, they're really the 2 best companies for CBD are Charlotte's Web and Green Compass. Like, but yeah, so she wanted to share it. She was really down in a dark place, and it really helped her tremendously. So I related to that too, being, you know, a mom of a son with really special needs, and coming from all kinds of other stuff of my own, I really resonated with me to have the mother like trying to find something to better herself, to better her family, and so that's why I chose that company. For Owen, we started using it to help him sleep. So it was taking, so this was 2000, almost 5 years ago. So it was taking like over 2 hours to get him to calm down enough to sleep. So it would take like 2 of us, like back at Jamie and I, like he just couldn't even like lay in bed. He was up 1,000 times. Just, it was really stressful. So I started using the CBD jelly, and it was really almost, I'd say like within a week, he was going to bed. Just,
Nice.
It wasn't like up 1,000 times. Like and he would sleep. And so that was really life-changing. And that's when I knew, like, okay, this stuff really works, and I want to share it. Because I had already failed a few network marketing. Like,
Yeah.
It's probably like my 5th one. I'm like, are my friends still going to buy this? But this was different. This was just, all right, this works. I don't really care if anyone buys it at this point because I know it works, and I want to get it free for us. And I just kind of shared it that way. I actually shared this to the whole Green Compass team, the story about Owen. And it helped a lot of parents come out that had children with special needs and really feel like seen, because I had posted it on my Instagram, and Green Compass shared it as well. that there are answers like for these struggles, and it's not just autism or just your age, their kid's age, and there are ways to help, and it doesn't have to be melatonin or melatonin can be okay in small doses, but it can really interact and interfere with kids' development, and it can cause things like night terrors and stuff. So I wanted to get off of that, but we really needed him to sleep. So yeah, so that's what I started doing that, and then we started taking it. Jamie and I both have anxiety in general, just we always have, and dealing with what we've had to deal with, with Owen, and more so the pandas, more so than the autism, but that's been very, very stressful. So we use CBDA, it's the acid, it's what happens before it becomes CBD, it's the precursor to CBD. Okay. It's a little tincture, and it works really quickly. So we both take it, it goes under your tongue, and it's great for panic. It's great, like I get MRIs twice a year because I have MS, so I have to follow that. So I don't like MRIs. My best friend's
mom has that.
What is it?
And one of my best friends' moms has MS.
Yeah, I'm really lucky with that. I was diagnosed really early, so, but I don't like getting MRIs. So this completely takes the edge off of that. So what else do we do? We also both take, Jamie and I, just a regular tincture in the morning. I do the collagen.
I'm a fan of the tinctures.
Yeah, it's really good. Owen will take the tincture. He's very easy. He'll take anything.
He does. My son does better with the tincture than he did with the jelly.
Jelly. Yeah. So Thea hates the jelly. Yeah. Owen will take anything. If I tell him to drink mud, he will. So I'm lucky with that. Like a lot of kids, especially kids like him, won't take things or don't like texture or whatever. I think he just wants to feel better, so he trusts me. And,
right.
But Thea won't take the jellies. They're disgusting, she said. She's sick. So. But yeah, and it's been almost 5 years with Green Compass, and I go up and down with the business part of it. I'm not good at selling things. I just share things that I like and that work and that I know to be a respectful company and good sources, but I'm not like the person who's cold calling, like reaching out and stuff. Like it makes me nervous. I don't want to like bother people, because to me also, I don't want to make it about money or sales. Like to me, it's health, and it's I'm doing it to help my family and myself, and then if I can help my friends. I'm starting to get better with that, because like as far as saying it, if someone says to me, "Oh, I'm anxious," or "I can't sleep," or our new mind bloom, so people say, "I can't remember," I have night sweats, I'm at the age of perimenopause, and so I'm like, I have an answer for that, like, so I like that about it,
Yeah. That's cool. You have a passion for wanting people to feel better.
Yeah.
It's just the sales aspect of it, because you're not a salesperson per se, like that's not your goal. It's like, you sell it organically. If you feel like you're trying to sell it, it feels forced. Yeah, in a sense. I get that.
I think it's probably a limiting belief somewhere of mine where where I maybe don't feel like worthy of someone's money or the value of, or qualified, or I don't know. I'm sure that's somewhere deep down that I'll deal with eventually. But at least it's, Actually, my best friend Julie, she's incredible at network marketing. She was really big in Beauty Counter, and she's actually does Green Compass with me as well. She's given me a lot of confidence with the sales and stuff, and it's just, it works. So why not, people are so quick to buy something at Target or share the movie they watched or share the restaurant that they ate at or complain on Yelp or, give money to Amazon. Well, why don't you want to give money to your best friend? And this is organic and quality, and so,
Yeah. No, it's, I'm a fan of network marketing. Like I told you before we kind of got started, I did it for almost a decade, doing different health products and things like that. And it's always easier to, like when Adam told me about you and saying like, hey, she has experience, I couldn't tell you, but you talk to her. I was instantly sold because you use the product on a regular basis. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for most people is, do they use the product regularly, or is it something that they're just trying to sell because they're trying to get to the financial aspect of what network marketing is?
Right.
So talking to you, I always felt like I came here, you didn't know me, you're like, here, take this, try it. Like you were so Like, you weren't trying to get me to buy it. You just wanted me to see the benefits of it.
Right.
And I think
yeah,
you
and
do a
I
great
think
job
I
of that.
suggested another brand too. Just it's because it works, and I've seen it work, and it's not perfect. It's not like our days are hard, and it's not like, oh, I take CBD and our life is better. Like, there are so many aspects that are still so hard as far as autism and things. But if it can help one small but huge part in people's lives, then I want to share it. And yeah, why not make some money doing it?
Yeah,
you know?
right,
like
right,
we're
yeah.
all economy's hard. We're all doing the best we can, and yeah. And I think referrals help. I so appreciate Adam saying that, and you know, just like if someone's having a wedding or a bar mitzvah or whatever, like he's always the first person I say too. Like, you know, people that are good at something, and you care about them too. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, you do a great job from what I see on your social media. I think you try to do, you're as organic as can be. I definitely get that vibe. It's like, this is her, this is Kate, this is, you know, so I appreciate it, and I'm thankful, because if it wasn't for meeting you, I would have never gone down that path, because I was getting when I would ask the doctors, they'd be like, try this medication versus try that, and I'm not a fan of medicating my child for just because that's the only solution you have, and when I ask for something else, you don't really seem to, like, I was against that whole aspect of it. So when you talk to me and you're like, oh, I use it with my kids, I'm like, babe, I know someone who finally uses CBD with her kids.
Yeah, so you can trust, and if you develop that rapport with someone, the medical community is getting a little better with that, but it is so hard that they don't know about natural things, and so much of medicine is prevention, right? Not using, without getting like political, but you know, all these pharmaceuticals, it's not what's best. Like, you want to prevent the disease from happening, and sometimes all these drugs are just not, you know, ADD is everywhere, but it's also, you know, a lot of other things, and it's just such a trend word, but the medicines for that sometimes make people worse, and there's so many natural things you can do for that type of thing, and even for autism, like, I believe that autism is a medical condition, and there's so many, and there's different aspects of it, right? Like, there's stages, and like the sleep, the digestive system, like the behavior, the language, the sensory, all these different things, and each has a different method, whether it be a supplement or something like occupational therapy, or different ways that you can help all these things and then put it together as a whole person. Like, I've gotten in arguments with doctors before. Like, there's a time and a place for medicine, right? Like, so Owen has epilepsy, so that he's on 4 different medicines right now, which, you know, isn't my ideal, but he needs to not have seizures.
Right.
And sometimes his is temporal lobe, so that's where it comes from, and that's usually one that doesn't work without medicine. Knock on wood, we're coming up to 2 years without, so I'm really looking forward to weaning him off the medicine to see what happens, because CBD is actually used for seizures as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But even for me, someone who loves CBD and loves natural, when you see your son having seizures in front of you, and he was having multiple a day, over 100 seizures he's had now. Wow. It's scary. So even me, like, who hates drugs, I was like, give me the drugs. I don't want him to have seizures, you know? Right. So, but I'm looking forward to weaning them off and giving him a higher dose of CBD and see if we can keep him off that. And then, you know, there's just, I just wish the doctors, I think they're getting better, you know, and I think the future will show that. But
as younger doctors are coming into the picture, who understand
nutrition,
it,
how important gut health is, it's everything, and even for autism too, and so I'm hopeful, and I'm just gonna always be loud, and I've never been someone who, I can get shy, like I told you I was really nervous to do this, but if I believe in something, I'm just, it's, you know, I just do, and it's take it or leave it, I guess.
Yeah. No, I am with you with that 100%. So when you look at, is there, like, when they were talking to me about medication for my son, I was very much like, look, I know what this medication is going to help, but I also know that it's going to damage other parts of him.
Right.
So if I don't have to take this and it just requires me, like for me, I'm very fortunate because I DJ with Adam and I do social media.
Right.
I can homeschool my son.
Right.
So when they were talking to me about, your son's very hyperactive in class and they wanted to talk to me about medication, I was like, I'll just pull him.
Right.
I'll just pull him. And then I have him at home. We do some activities early in the morning to burn the energy and he's good.
And I love that. And I feel like a lot of people are moving towards homeschooling. I actually just read something this morning. I follow someone called the Holistic Mother. Okay. She has a huge following. She just pulled her kids actually. And she's able to. I mean, money's not an issue for her, she's stay at home and she has all kinds of resources. So it's not as easy for everyone. For me, I know I couldn't do it. Owen has so many needs. I just know for myself, I'm triggered a lot by him, because he can be violent. And so he needs to be out of the house. So he really functions on routine and structure, and he does really well at his school. But he was home for 2 months because of a situation with Masco, and we did the best we could, and we just you do what you can. But he's really flourishing at Crest, and he does really well there, and they're so great.
Good.
But I would pull him in a heartbeat, if that's what was best, and I really respect and commend that you did that and you're able to, because school is it's a good thing for some people, but not for everyone, and it's not, I think it's good to recognize that it's not necessary for everyone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think when it comes to my son anyway, I think why I saw it was he was in a room with 20 other kids. It was the teacher plus 3 paras. And as I was kind of paying attention to the conversations they were having with me, realistically, they could only spend an hour with him. And it wasn't necessarily individual time that they could devote. So I found myself sending my child to school, and he was getting less help than he could if I just kept him home and worked with him for an hour or two. Because he would get that one-on-one, right? Yeah. And once we kind of did that, and I have to say, I don't think homeschooling is, when you're explaining it to me in terms of how you would homeschool if you could, but certain things, I agree. I think it's situational. It's very situational, right? Not everybody can do it because of the needs that the child has.
Right.
So I respect the fact that you do everything you possibly can to get the help that Owen needs.
And then Owen and I need a break from each other.
Yeah, I mean, he
gets on the van. You might have seen my reel I did after 11 days. Bye. He needs it too. We need this.
And it's cabin fever for the kids. They're stuck in the house all day, so it does wind them up. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the teachers, they're so good that he has, and we're so grateful for that and lucky for that. But we've had some really, really, really shitty ones. Can I swear on this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You can talk however you want.
So we always put our kids. Oh, he was even out of when we pulled him out of Peabody. He was out for a couple months, and it's just you got to do what you got to do for their best interests. Yeah. And sometimes it's not public school.
Yeah, I had teachers telling me you need to advocate for your child as hard as possible.
Right.
And I feel and I don't know about you, but when I found out my son was autistic, it was almost I was ashamed of myself. I was I don't want to share this with anybody. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to see if I can figure it out by myself. And you realize that limits your resources so much if you don't learn how to talk about, have the conversation, and go seeking for the people who have the experience.
Right.
So I think from what you're telling me, you've been very gung-ho on getting after it. So I commend you for that, and I think everything you've done, just a little bit, we talked about the swing behind me, the different things you've put in place. You can see that you're a very involved, let me go after this type of thing and see what I can do. So even when you're telling me I'd like to wean him off the medication and a little bit more CBD, please, I hope it works for you. You know what I mean? I really hope,
Most doctors in our life know that not to mess with me. My claws come out quickly, and I'm sure it's written in a chart somewhere, Owen's mom is really scary. But
that's a good thing for Owen, though. That's a great thing for Owen.
Talk for himself. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he talks, but mostly in scripts. But it's my job. I was actually explaining to our 6-year-old recently, she was mad at me for something, and I'm the worst mom in the world because I must have told her no something. I was like,
Been there.
yeah, you know, I understand, like, you're feeling that way, but I love you, and I, you know, my mom's my best friend and you're my best friend, but at the end of the day, I'm your mom and it's my job to do what's best for you, and sometimes that's not what you're gonna like.
Right.
But sometimes it means no, and whatever, and it's just, we have to just do what's best for them because no one else is going to.
Right.
I mean, Jamie and I are on the same team, and we're lucky to have each other in that, and our families and stuff. But what you said about the shame, yeah, I totally understand that and get that. I think when Owen was diagnosed, it's been so long now, it's 12 years ago, we were frightened. And 12 years ago, it wasn't really talked about as much as it is now.
No.
And we were kind of like, what? Really? And we didn't know anyone that, like, now it's kind of like every corner, which is weird too. But it was kind of, we just felt frightened and sad and kind of desperate. But then we just jumped in because what else are you going to do?
Right.
Like, it's just, we'll figure it out. And it's always, I think my mom used to always say, like, you know, whatever it is, we'll figure it out together. You know, she used to say that, my mom's here, I shouldn't say used to, she's not like, God, she's my best friend, we couldn't live without her. She always says this thing, like, put your hand in mine and together we'll be okay, like, because we've been through a lot together. So I always think of that, and it's just, we've dealt with a lot of hard stuff. I think, you know, like, so Owen was diagnosed with pandas in 2019, which was and has been horrible. But we just have to figure it out. And if that means, you know, hours of research on websites and talking to other parents. And there's a group on Facebook that I like called Recovering Kids. That's actually how I learned about all kinds of things to help. Because nobody like, doctors I mean, I worked in medicine too. Like, I was a radiation therapist at Dana-Farber. Like, you only can learn so much, but do I know what it's like to have cancer? No. I can treat you. Well, I probably can't anymore. I can spell cancer now. It's been so long, my brain doesn't know how to do that anymore, but I used to. But, like, there's no one that's gonna give you better advice or information than a parent that's going through this.
Right.
Like, you know, doctors try, they read books, they learn from, some of them have their own families going through stuff, and you know, through patience and experience. I'm not saying they don't know things, they do. But, like, when you have a parent, like, in the trenches trying to save their child, you know, Owen, at times, we weren't sure if he needed, like, a straitjacket or an exorcism, or he was not himself. Like, he was a boy with autism that was a stranger. Like, he was, I used to call it, like, his dark passenger or something from Dexter, like a strange passenger or something. I forget what I used to say, but he was a kid with special needs that became something that was possessed. Like, he would become this, like, so doctors would be like, it's autism, it's autism, it's autism. I'm like, no. Yes, he has that, but this is something else. And so we really fought for that, and I was not nice to many people. I'm like, no, I'm telling you. And it took 4 years to get that diagnosis, and finally we did, and he just finished 4 years of IVIG every 10 weeks.
What is IVIG?
So that is intravenous immunoglobulins. So it comes from, God, I think like 12,000 donors or something.
Okay.
For each. It's very clean. It's a hard treatment. So it's really to reset, like, get rid of his immune system and give him a different, his technical diagnosis is autoimmune encephalitis. So anytime, like, if you and I have a cold, right, it sucks, you know, it feels yucky, but our personality doesn't change. But Owen, he would get sick and he couldn't leave the house. He couldn't leave my side. He couldn't sleep. So he was completely taken over by this autoimmune disease. I forget what my point was. What was I talking about? Sometimes I go on tangents, and
I will take it all. Yeah, wherever direction you want to go, I'm cool.
Forget where I started with that, but just back to the doctors. Like, I was like, something's wrong. Like, this is not who he was. Like, he struggles, but this is, like, dangerous. And so finally I got them to agree with it. Oh yeah, I was talking about how doctors just kind of do what I say now because I've just made it known, like, I'm not taking know for an answer sort of thing, when
Sure,
I know
yeah,
in
yeah.
my heart that this is what it is. And yeah, the IVs were really hard. He's had some really, it was a really, I can't even remember a lot of it. I think my body sort of repressed it. It was so traumatic a lot of the times, but he did it, and he's a lot better for it. But that was a mainstream medicine that actually our naturopath didn't want us to do. But I just had to make a decision, like, you know, this is what his doctor is saying will help, and I just had to sort of go against my own natural thing. So it's kind of like hypocritical of my own self, but sometimes you just need that the big guns, I guess. But it helped him. He struggles with so much, but and it's hard to watch your son be attached to a needle for 2 days in a row and, you know, not be able to do anything. And I feel like we lost so much of his childhood. I mean, he's 14 now, and so much of his childhood was just hell. But I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. So you seem like a very strong-willed person. So kind of rewinding back to your childhood, like, how do you think you got to this point to where you are like this? Like, how, like, in the sense of, I'm going to go after it, I'm going to figure it out. Like, did you grow up in a household that was always like that? Or, like, how did you develop that?
Honestly, I had a really hard childhood. My dad is an alcoholic, and when I was a kid, he was a violent one. He was, you know, abusive to my mom and to me. So it was a really, I've been in like the constant state of fight or flight since I was little. But I learned really early on to protect people. You know, I felt like I had to take care of my mom as long as I can remember. And so it's kind of shaped me in a good way, but also in a tough way, because I have a hard time handling a lot of things because it brings me back to that constant state of stress and fear. And being in my nervous system has been shot so many times that it's really hard. But I definitely learned, like, from my mom and from myself, like, that's where I learned, like, we can get through anything, and we have so far.
Well, you just don't come off as a victim mentality type of person. You come off like, I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I definitely have my moments, for sure. Jamie and I try to, but yeah, we try to be strong. I learned a couple years ago from this woman, Rachel Joy. She's amazing. It's NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and one of the main teachers of that, it's actually Tony Robbins does that. She learned from him too, and another one of my friends, Julie Costa, does this too. But it's called taking, like, radical responsibility, which means not playing the blame game. You know, like, there's been certain parts of my life where I'm like, well, this is my dad's fault. Like, I am this way because of him. But, you know, I'm 41 years old, almost 42. Like, and he did the best he could. I know that now. I still have, like, I love him. I have a lot of hate for him. But
we have similar. My father and I did not see eye to eye. Not same situation, but he wasn't always the best. So I follow exactly what you're saying right now.
So it's like, but how long do I go blaming him for everything? Like, he didn't really have a chance either. His father was even worse than him. So, and then it's just, then I get into this thing with my own kids, and I get this guilt, like, okay, I should have done this. I shouldn't have done this. Like, I'll fly off the handle after so many patient moments, but it's not easy parenting, Owen.
Yeah, the whole term gentle parenting sometimes gets away from me, for sure.
Yeah, and it's
I absolutely get that.
It's like, in the moment, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm always, I read a lot, and I try to understand myself a lot and try to understand my kids. And I've been learning recently too, as I'm parenting a 6-year-old girl who's, you know, I learned that between 6 and 8, there's this hormonal increase, and I see it in her. I'm like, is she 16? But I see myself a lot in her, and I've learned that she's showing me parts of me that aren't healed, because I wasn't allowed to be certain ways when I was a kid because I grew up in such a hostile environment. So it triggers me. I know that word, people probably hate that word. It's such like a catchword now, but it just fits. When she makes certain sounds or does certain things, I can feel my body, like, just wanting to scream. So yeah, like, coming from a violent childhood and then having a violent child has been quite a trip. It's been, I think that's just why I keep fighting. Like, I feel like I've always been fighting. I've been fighting, you know, just to be normal, like with my dad, and then to have him and fighting for his normalcy or him to have a healthy childhood, and I don't know. I know, like thinking, I think you had asked me about like memories and stuff. I can't really think of a lot of them. I do have good ones. I don't know. You know, we used to go up to New Hampshire to my grandparents' house in Milton, and I loved doing that. And I was really close to my grandparents and have good memories with them. And, you know, I remember how close I am with my mom, and I love her. We're so close. And some certain friend things. But, yeah, it was a lot of hard. And it's like the exact thing I didn't want, like in my own family. I didn't want hard, but I couldn't really control what Owen would be like or what anything's be like or how I would handle it as a mother. There's some days like where I'm not strong, where I'm like, I never should have had kids because didn't heal my own childhood. So it's like this, how can I be a good mother? And sometimes
you're almost
I'm not.
passing your traits over to them, and then upset with them that they have the traits, but it's coming from, it's absolutely.
Like we want to break the generational curse, right? Or change things from generation to generation. I think I am, and I think Jamie and I both are. You know, one thing I practice with both my kids is repair. Like, and that's so important, and I know that the generation before us, our parents didn't do that. Not saying that shame on them, they didn't know any better.
Right,
and for us, we're not going to be perfect, and I don't expect to be perfect, and I don't want to be perfect, and I don't want to teach my kids perfection. Sometimes I can be insane because of what I deal with, or just because I'm a human. Like, but what I always do and what I didn't get is I take that time to repair things with my kids. Like, we talk about what happened, I apologize, or they apologize, we move forward. And I think that's like a really big thing, like that our generation is doing. Like, we're fucking up all the time.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
We're acknowledging it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're taking that radical responsibility.
I did it yesterday. I completely get it.
We're gonna yell. We're gonna do wrong things. Like, I swear, I under my breath, like, and sometimes not under my breath, or, you know, Jamie and I dealt with Thea this morning, like refusing to get ready for school and just being so tough. It's like, okay, you have to just kind of walk away or take a deep breath, or if you're able to. And if you're not able to and you lose it, then you take that moment like, I'm sorry, you know? So that's something, the radical responsibility of like, all right, it's not, I'm in a bad mood or I'm not happy or I'm reacting, but it's not her. She's not causing my emotions. She's doing something in front of me, not to me. It's hard to remember it in the moment.
No, absolutely. My daughter yesterday, so like, you know what you say, you're trying to do things for your kids to better them, but they don't see it in that moment.
Right.
So my daughter yesterday, we have this thing where we're like, hey, sweetie, just make sure if you're going to get your workout in, get it in before 9 o'clock, because we're on the second floor. You get on the elliptical, you start going. The people downstairs, they're going to hear that.
They think it's a herd of elephants.
Yeah, you know, and not, you know, I'm not a big fan of my neighbors, but I try to be, you know, somewhat understanding.
Right.
So yesterday, my fiance is talking to our daughter, and she's like, go get your workout in. And my daughter's on her phone with her friend, and she's acting cool, and it's one of those things. And I go over, and I'm like, hey, why are you acting like an asshole right now? Like, what is there to win from you giving your mom a hard time? You're going to have to work out. The only thing that comes out of this is we're going to have to make you learn a lesson somehow. Take your phone away, take your iPad. Like, there's no win-win here. You get mad at us. We don't feel good doing this. So when you're saying this, I'm like, I literally was having the phone, as I'm driving my daughter to work this morning, I'm like, hey, look, sweetie, I just want to let you know, yesterday's conversation, I wasn't comfortable with it either. I don't like being that way. But sometimes when you're acting this way, I don't understand what you think you're going to gain from it.
What's the end goal?
So I have a hard time just letting you act this way to your mom when I can just hear her saying, go work out. It's just, all you had to say was okay, and it was just over. But instead, it was you had to be cool in that moment, whatever it was.
How old's your daughter?
She's 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made a video of her on Instagram where I was just kind of like reenacting how she acts to us.
And I think I saw that. Were you in bed?
Yeah. I was in bed, and then I jumped down and wearing her like crop top, and I'm walking around with her Stanley and stuff.
17, I was turning the corner of being nice and respectful, and my mom and I finally developed like 14, 15, 16, I think it was 15 maybe, my mom wanted to send me back.
Yeah.
I still say to this day, I earned it though. I mean, it was like it was so stressful in my house that I earned the attitude. But I see it in my 6-year-old now, and I'm like, oh God. And it's like, we don't want to like dim their confidence because these women are going to rule the world, right? But it's like, don't talk to me that way.
Right,
you know?
right.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, I definitely talk to my mom that way. And, you know, sometimes I'll talk to Jamie that way. Or it's like you have to always constantly realize they're sponges. And I know it's like a balance of, like you said, the gentle parenting, like, and also just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's definitely moments where I'm sitting in the room and I'm listening to her talk to my fiance, you know, her mom. And I'm just like, all right, I know what my dad would have done in this instance, and I cannot be that man. Right. So let me see how this plays out for a minute. Let me just, because I can feel myself getting hot. You know what I mean? Like, but then I don't know about you. Sometimes I try to think, was I like this? And I remember giving my dad the middle finger and then hiding behind my mom. You know,
we talk about stories. And we actually just had the same conversation the other night. Like, if we just did what you guys did to us, like, we would, we don't want to tell you what our parents would have done. Like, you wouldn't like it. No. And it's like, we're all like kids and teenagers. We're all just like testing boundaries and whatever.
How far can we go? Yeah, absolutely.
I try to remind myself, and I wish more people would, that children aren't mini adults. They're children.
Right.
Like their prefrontal lobe, the frontal cortex of your brain doesn't develop until you're 25 to 28 years old. So like what we're expecting these small people to not have emotions. I'm 41 years old and I cry like multiple times a day and I like behave whatever, you know, it's just, I wish, that's something I wish people would stop thinking kids should be like this like regulated people. Like they're children.
Like they should be perfect.
Yeah.
But like
we're not.
Yeah.
Fly off the handle or we cry or like, it's just, I don't know.
No, I definitely agree with you there. I condemn myself. This is how I felt this morning. That's why I had to have the conversation with my daughter, was after it was all done and I felt like, I showed her after that phase the way, after that part like went away. I was like, what did you accomplish?
Right, by being,
like she just doesn't want to talk to you now. Like she doesn't want to do anything with you. What did you get out of it?
Right.
You know, because I remember like, I'll share stories with my daughter every once in a while about what my father was like, because my father was old school Greek. He didn't put up with anything. Okay. So I remember one time I had done something and my dad he had to come home from work to handle it. And I just remember the whole time thinking I was so cool, I was going to, you know. And my dad walks in, he used to be a professional soccer player. He didn't even hesitate. He kicked me. And I got air, smacked up against the wall, and like peeled down. I was completely out of breath. I'm sitting there, and he's hovering over me. Okay. And I'm just like...
And you remember that?
Yeah, clearly? That's one of the most vivid, you know, where I just remember like I'm out of breath, I can't breathe, you know, doing one of these, and he's just standing over me with like pure, like, he didn't want to stop, but he did type of deal, you know what I mean? It was like one of those moments. And I look at my kids and I'm like, if I even like think about doing anything bad, that memory comes and I'm like, I can't be mean to my kids. I you know.
Because you know like what the trauma, because you still think about it now and it's like it happened yesterday.
Oh yeah. But
it's like we feel it inside, like that we can be that way. Like I have a similar story that I forget a lot of things, but I remember this like as if it just happened. Like it was very similar. I stepped on my dog's tail, obviously not intentionally, but my dad asked, like, I don't know, she whimpered or something. And my dad asked if I stepped on it. And I was a little kid, so I said,
You
no.
lie, yeah, you lie.
And he picked me up by the shirt and threw me against the wall. And I remember peeing, like, because I was so scared, screaming at me, like, because of that. Like, I don't even remember if it's because I lied or because I stepped on the tail or a combination. So I always remember that moment. And so, there's been moments, like with Owen specifically, because he can be really violent. I mean, he's hit me millions of times. He's thrown furniture, you know, so many different things, and over the years. And there's moments where I feel like I could maybe kill him, like because, and I don't know if it's just being a human and you're assaulting me, or if it's I go back to that moment and I just feel, or I have many moments like that from my childhood where I just feel like you're a desperate sort of thing. And it's like this rage comes over, and then I have to you know, realize. And it's just, yeah, that goes back to how I said maybe I shouldn't have had kids, because when we come from that, but I think it's people like us that have gone through that with parents are the best to have kids, because we can learn from it. We can be empathetic to our parents who didn't know, they're doing the best they can.
Well, I hate my dad, so I don't know about him.
I know.
He passed away, and we it was one of those like.
Yeah, I barely talk to mine either. But
I'll cry because I miss him.
Yeah.
But when I think about the core, like how if he was alive, we still wouldn't talk.
Right.
Right. So I think.
What about your mom? Were you guys close?
My mom and I are cool. I mean, I wouldn't say close, but definitely like I have a good relationship with her.
Yeah.
But I think because of the way my father was, my mom was very close to him because they got into a relationship while they were really, really young.
Okay.
And it was just she knew him, and when she had kids, she did the best for them, but he kind of dominated her personality and the way he was very clear on make everybody in the house know that
he's the boss.
I'm the boss, and nothing around here has happened without me. So without me, you can't get anything done.
Right. Yeah. I paid
had
the
this
bills.
Thing where, He would say, the way my dad would say it, and I apologize, but he would be like, "You guys all hang from my balls."
Yeah.
That's how my father would say it, and he goes, "You guys would be nothing without me." And I saw how over years it almost ate my mom up because she believed it.
You know who says something like that? Well, a narcissist, first of all, but an insecure person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much true. Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
I don't by any means.
Your poor mom, yeah.
When I look at it all, it took my mom many years after they separated.
Yeah.
It took her many years to find herself.
Yeah.
She's a whole different person now. She's gone to school. She works at a hospital. Like all the things she dreamt of that she talked about,
she did them.
She was able to do them at a much later stage. So it makes me very proud.
Yeah. My mom too. Like my dad is the same. He was an abusive alcoholic, narcissist, and sociopath, I think maybe. And yeah. Oh, she didn't have a personality or anything. She was just trying to survive.
Right.
And like when I think about why did you stay with him for 20 years, you know, it's for survival mode. Yeah. She thought, you know, she wanted to keep us, we weren't safe, but like just in the house. And, you know, it's when you're beat down, and she's an empath too. So someone like her being with a narcissist is just the worst. Like you're beat down. She thought she was worthless.
You start to believe it.
And you didn't even deserve to leave this man because what are you going to do? Like he did the same thing. Like even though she worked like 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet too, but and then she always thanks me, and it gives me the credit for her being who she is today, because she's her own strength, and so I give her so much credit, but I kind of pushed her to be more confident. Like you are worthy, you're wonderful, like you're strong, you know, it's not your fault, and helped push her along, and now, I mean, she's been with Ray for 10 years, and she's confident. All my friends love her. Like she's so
nice.
Beautiful and happy, and finally like into her own, and it's just never give up, and we just take one day at a time, and I guess I kind of take that into things as a mother, like, and with having a special needs son, like it's we just have to keep going.
Right.
Like,
yeah. It's building off the trauma and not repeating it that is the hardest part of it all, I feel like, you know? But once I credit my sister for helping my mom become the woman that she is.
Okay.
Because my sister was the one who basically told my mom, like, hey, move on, come live with me.
Okay.
And then my sister is this, like, I call her, like, when she gets into relationships, she's the dominant one.
Okay.
You know? So I think that's what my mom needed to see. So then that way she would eventually, kind of build it, you know? So I think them being together has helped them, you know, my sister becomes a little bit more understanding. My mom becomes a little bit more determined to be herself.
Right.
So I think once you can get past the trauma and really get around people who like refine you, like when you were asking me, you know, what made you want to start the vlog? I want to get around people that make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be the person who's constantly learning, and the only way you do that is by admitting like you have holes, you know, you have gaps.
They say it's the best to be the least smart person in the room. Is that how you say it? In the room, like we even say in boxing, like you're only going to learn if you always fight someone who's better than you. Like fighting someone who's not as good as you or weaker than you is not going to teach you anything. You always want to get in the ring with someone who's better than you, and that's how you improve. And it's scary, but yeah, I like that, like being, talking to people and learning things. And I was so nervous to do this, and I thought, like, all right, this is gonna be good for me too, like to get out and talk and.
You found your flow early. You have found your flow as we've talked more. I could see it.
I love that relationship with your mom and sister, because that's, I think, us too. Like, I can be harder, colder, and just kind of like tougher. And so my mom has sort of helped me balance to be more, compassionate and empathetic. And she's taken from me to kind of be like not taking any shit kind of thing, and kind of balance that out. And then we're both sort of the opposite too. Like I can be super emotional and super like, feeling like less value of myself sort of thing. And then she'll, shower me with your affirmations and things, and you're amazing. And so it's a good balance. And, Thea's, this is kind of sad, but she asked me recently why I had her. Because Owen was having a significantly tough day.
This is your 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's very smart and very intuitive, and it actually took Jamie and I a couple years to decide to have another kid. There's 7 years in between them. I lost one like early on, so but once we finally decided that okay, we're gonna do this, and then I so badly wanted a girl because I wanted what I have with my mom, and also like you do think about, it's not why we had her, but you think about having Owen, and we're not going to be here forever, and like I want him to have a sibling to love him, and to be there when I can't be. But he's tough, and it's like kind of 2 steps forward a lot of the time and 500 back, and it's really hard to live with him sometimes. And for her, he's annoyed by most everything she does, and he can be really mean to her. So it was just a few days ago, I forget exactly what was going on with him, but she said, why did you have me? Like, no, you knew Owen was like this. Like a 6-year-old asked me that. She's so,
Right. That's why you say, is she 16 or 6?
I know, and I was trying so hard. I did cry, but I was trying not to, like, because I want her to feel comfortable to tell me those thoughts and not be like, oh, I made mommy cry. Like, it's not. And I said, selfishly, I wanted you. Like, I wanted what Grammy and I have, and I wanted you, and there's some days where I think maybe that wasn't a good choice, and it was a selfish choice because of what you deal with and struggle with. But when I look at you, and Jamie and I can't imagine life without you, and you're just gonna be, she's already made like the world a better place, and she has her own struggles too, like her teacher says. But she's very opinionated and loud, and but she's awesome, and that relationship, she's just made me so much better. She brings out the worst in me. Like, she really does. Like, even more so than Owen.
I think kids definitely find ways to pull that out of us, for sure.
And I'm like, you are me. Like that stereotype or whatever, like, oh, when your parents say, you're going to find out one day.
Yeah.
But so many people say it like in a negative way, but it's like, she's everything that I wasn't, or that I couldn't be, and maybe I'm like kind of living vicariously through her, and I'm wishing, like, I want her childhood to be a lot less stressful, but I forget why I brought this up. You're gonna have to edit it when I forget.
No, I mean, so I posted all entirety, and then I cut up a bunch of clips.
Okay.
So like the full clip will go on YouTube, like the full like non-edited, just you and I talking, and then I'll cut up a bunch of clips.
Like I'll talk to my friends. My friend Randy and I and Whitney, we do like audio messages. Like we'll try to catch up while we're driving. And once I get I'll talk for like 45 minutes. And I'll go on like 17 different tangents, and then I'll come back, and they do too. And I'm like, what was I talking about? It's somewhere in there. Yeah. Or I do, the Marco app?
I'm not familiar with that.
It's a video messaging, like, so you're not texting, you're doing videos.
Okay.
So my 3 best friends and I, we started it in the pandemic so that we could be face to face. But you're not talking. You're talking to yourself. Like, you see yourself in the video.
It's like you're recording.
You're sending videos,
Okay.
So I'll talk for like an hour, and I'm like, what was I talking about? I'm like, what? Especially if I'm driving, like, and I'm driving, but
Sure. Yeah, when your message came in, it was all voice. I was like,
oh yeah,
this is gonna erase. I need to screenshot her question.
right? Yeah, it's just like. Yeah. I'll go on these tangents. I'm like, oh my God, Kate, what are you talking about?
Well,
I forget what
I
started.
think you were really just trying to, where you're bringing it up with your daughter, I think what you were just trying to say is like the moments of they ask you difficult questions that make you question yourself and why you've made certain decisions. Like, I give you a lot of credit for having another child after Owen, because for me, I fear having another child that might be autistic again.
Right.
And then having, like, I look at my son and I'm like, I need to give you all the attention I can.
Right.
So for you to do it, and then you have your daughter who, like, I know she's going through difficult things with Owen, but the type of woman she's going to grow up to be will be so, like, great for the world, because she's experienced things that the average child probably won't.
Right.
You know? But she's also learning how to adapt in these situations. Right. So when she gets older, she's going to be so solution-oriented and so strong-willed, and understanding that, like, difficult things can happen, but as long as and it seems like that's kind of the environment you're creating, no matter, it's frustrating, I get it, when you just want to, like, fight your kids, especially, like, when they're just pushing every button because they know how,
Yep.
But to step back just for a second and hear you say all this, because I'm in a similar position as you when you feel these moments. Like, you are, and I have to say, like, what you're saying, I get those hot moments where I'm just like, today's it, that's it.
On the empty threats too. Owen always calls me out on the empty threats. Like, he has this very interesting memory, but it's hard because he focuses on all the negative, but he'll remember, like, I don't know, it was in August or something, and we were going to the surf house in Hampton. It's like a new hotel up there, and we like it because it's got a saltwater pool in the ocean, and Owen likes it. But it's not cheap, and it's like, whatever. But the point was, do you guys appreciate, like, how hard Daddy works, like, to make money and do the work for us and do all this and pay for things? And they were being so rude and mean to each other and to me. And so I just was like, and mind you, we had already paid, like, we were going. No one was canceling anything.
Right.
And I was like, that's it, we're not going. The surf house is canceled. I've had it with both of you and, like, whatever. So now, what month are we in now? January? Yeah. Even this morning, why'd you say the surf house was canceled?
They calling you out and you're like,
I'm like, buddy, we went to the surf house. Focus on that we went. And then, but he needs me to say, like, because you were doing the blah, blah, blah. And he knows it's, like, I'm like, parents just
he's learning your traits,
buddy. We just say things all the time in hopes of, it's ridiculous, really. Like, no one was canceling anything.
We've already done everything. We were just saying it because we need you to act. Like, just chill for a minute.
It's like the Christmas thing or birthday thing. Like, you're not going to, like, who are you kidding? Yes. You're still going to give them all the things. And it's just a desperate attempt at obedience, I suppose. I don't know.
Because we don't want to raise our hand or, like, hit our kids like our parents did. We're like, what do we have left? What can we protect us?
Okay.
All right. Absolutely. My daughter, she's just getting to the age where she's, like, becoming an independent woman. And for me, I'm a dude. I'm cool with raising a boy. I get how to raise a boy. You wrestle, you fight, you blah, blah, blah. You have all this fun. But, like, she don't want to do that. She wants to talk makeup and play little murder mystery games. And, like, I hate murder mystery stuff. like I get queasy watching murder, like, all this. And I'm just like, I don't.
Oh, you're not one of the serial killer
people?
My
God. Oh my God.
We love that.
My fiance and my daughter can watch that stuff all day, every day.
Too. My best friends too.
God.
And I'm like, what does this say about us that our favorite shows are serial killers? And we love it. Jamie too.
But every SVU episode, my fiance has seen. She watches, like, if she watches Grey's Anatomy, I'm like, I'm going. Like, I'm not like, I've taken my EMT course. I wanted to be a firefighter. I've seen these things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to relating and, like, making it a thing to relate to, it makes my stomach turn. You know what I mean? Like, so when our kids get into these moments of, like, calling us out on our BS, and we're just sitting there like, like, it's like, all right, well, gotta be a good parent. All right. So I kind of got on a tangent there, but
it rubs off on people.
Kids, they just understand, like, how far can I go?
Right.
You know, how
like,
far
is she
can
really
I go?
gonna, like, okay, Mom, I know you paid for it already.
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, we will, like, her tablet or whatever, like, if she's, like, we'll say, like, just, you can't have it for today. They have to have consequences, but it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll just get so crazy that I'll cancel everything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
We're not doing anything. Everybody go to their room and be quiet.
For 6 months. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, given our backgrounds,
Right,
it's the best we can do to make ourselves feel like we're like parenting.
Power, yeah, right.
You know.
One thing, like, we in our house that we do, and Owen says it all the time, is we always start over. I was gonna actually get a tattoo of it. I probably still will, because he says it all the time. Like, if he has a meltdown and upsets everyone or upsets himself, or if I have a meltdown or anybody, we can start over. We can start over. And there'll be moments where something is so extreme, like, buddy, I need a minute. Like, I'm not like an instant, rapid cycle change. Like, I need a minute. But, like, I think now that I'm talking with you about it, like, I think it's really important that we've set that thing. And, like, it's, I guess, something I would say to people who have kids like we do, like, or any kids really, like, giving the opportunity to start over, like, learn from your mistakes, and just, we don't have to kind of dwell on everything. Just, we've actually physically made the rewind sound. Like, I've downloaded it on YouTube or whatever, and, like, just, like, because we've all done something or said something crazy, and it's, like, so dramatic. I'm like, okay, let's just rewind. And I think, like, sometimes when I get sad about our life, I'll think about those moments that we've done. Like, it was just game night the other night. What's today? Tuesday. This was just Sunday night. It was so extreme, horrible, and it was only like 5 minutes, but we were all upset. Like, Owen gets really nervous with games because he doesn't know how to play them.
Sure.
Thea gets really controlling, and because she's 6 and wants to control things. And Jamie and I try not to set up expectations, but we did. So
it's hard not to.
We were sitting down playing this hurry up chicken butt. My friend Kristen suggested it's a riot. It's game, and Owen was actually playing correctly too, right. And it was amazing. And Jamie and I shared, like, a glance, like, oh my God, this is cute. We're sitting and playing a game. So that was one moment in time. A couple seconds later, Owen wanted to put the cards underneath, because that's what they do at school, but he was actually putting it on top. So I was just taking it and throwing it aside, because the game is it's like hot potato.
Okay.
So it's fast. So he got so upset that he, like, pulled my shirt, like, ripped my shirt, like, hit me in the side of the head, and, like, was hitting Jamie, like, so upset. And then I immediately started crying, because it was such a dramatic change of
Right. You were
feelings.
just having this fun, yeah.
And then Thea jumps up and she's mad at Owen, like, for causing that scene. And then Owen ended up having, unfortunately, like, a really pretty big meltdown, and Jamie was helping him get through that. And I was still crying, and I was just like, oh my God, like, how is this so hard, like, for us, like, to not have. And I find myself using the word normal, which I hate using, because what is normal anyway, but it's like, we can't have a game night, like, it's so violent, like, it's just, come on. And I was crying, and then we all just looked at each other, and I was like, and Jamie, we both said at the same time. Sometimes I forget who says what, because we usually just say the same things, but it's like, okay, let's just start over. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Let's just rewind. I looked at Owen, like, he was, red from smashing Jamie with pillows and throwing down, like, and I've got, like, mascara running down my face, and then it's like, and we had just videoed too, like, Jamie had just taken a video of us being happy, and it was such a dramatic change. I was like, okay, so we can spend the rest of the night separate, or crying, or yelling, or let's just start over.
Right.
So we did. We all just erased in our minds what happened, and we sat down and we played the game again. And that's just like what our lives come to, and it's just, I think the sooner we just kind of embrace, what did I say recently on a post, it's like 80-20. Like, if we lower our expectations to, we're gonna have that 20% of hell no matter what. Maybe it's gonna be 50% hell. Maybe it's gonna be like 90% that day. It's gonna come, because he has severe issues, and we all do. I do too. Like, none of us, we're all struggling with something. Or Jamie could be, like, really heightened stress with work, or, sometimes, like, everything with Owen just hits us at once. Like, we can deal with it, and then we start thinking about the future. But I think, like, if we just start really focusing on that, like, ability to start over. I don't know. I think that's just the
There's
thing
something beautiful to that.
Yeah.
To give your children the ability to realize the moment was lost, but we can come back and build it again.
Yeah.
I think there's something
We're a family.
genuine. Yeah.
We don't give up. Like, it's not, maybe not what you see at other kids' houses, or maybe it is, who knows, like, but it's just, this is our house, and it's just what it is. And you were violent, but I know you didn't mean to, and I love you, and you know, I threatened to take away the surf house, and you know, I didn't, you know, it's just sort of like, so, I don't know. Yeah. I gotta get that tattooed though. I'll let you know if I do. It's just, because this is for Owen, and I hate it. Like, so I want to get, like, start over. This was like one of those ones. Do you know George Zortzis? One of Adam's best friends.
The Greek guy?
Yep.
I think he went running with us, one of the runs that we did. Okay.
This was at his wedding in Newport. I don't know how many years ago that was. And it was like, I felt like getting a tattoo, like, so I'm like, oh, I just picked it off the wall. Like, I wanted it for my son, and with the heart, but it looks like a pretzel, and and I don't like the blue anymore. So I want to get something like black and figure that out. And
I think that's a good quote to have.
Yeah.
It'll be a good reminder for you as well. I think just having it and seeing
then
it sporadically,
I think it'll be good.
will help kind of always regulate your emotions in that moment anyway.
I think
you know.
I hope so.
I mean, just kind of listening to you, because I'm gonna be honest with you, this conversation was a lot more fluid than I thought it was gonna be. You have been so cool and so, like, open. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, wow,
I know,
it's already an hour in. Like, wow. I was like, all right, I told her we were gonna be like an hour, so I won't keep you much longer because I know the kids are coming. But, you know, to hear you say the things you're saying and being so transparent about how your day-to-day life is, it gives people the perspective of, if you can learn to keep your emotions as much as you can on that start over mentality, you're going to get the best out of it.
Yeah. And the CBD helps with that too. Sometimes in the moment, like, I was actually yelling at Jamie during that game. I'm like, go takes, because he was getting stressed and sad. I'm like, go, like, it's in the door, like, because the CBDA works so quickly.
Yeah.
So we have that, and because the moments are gonna come. Like, you know, that's why I try to be real on my Instagram. Like, I cry all the time. I get mad all the time. Like, it's just, and Owen does. We all, like, where, you know, so many people say I'm such a great mom. Like, sometimes I'm a really shitty mom, but, like, I'm a human. And I think, like, being a good mom is just realizing that you're not going to be perfect, but you have to find methods of helping yourself and teaching it to the kids. So, you know, CBD is one of those. And, you know, I did get certified in hypnotherapy and tapping and something called time techniques and NLP. And I have goals of building a business. I just haven't. I keep putting myself on the back burner, you know, because, like I said, we dealt with like the 2 years of seizures where I was always on edge, or, you know, Jamie's career is the priority, like breadwinner, and I still think it's some sort of self-worth thing, but, like, I do have a goal of building a business other than the CBD. That would be, like, an addition, but of really, like, helping people in all these ways, mainly, like, the niche of people that struggle, like, with, you know, things like I have, like childhood trauma or motherhood trauma, you know, like, so, yeah, I think it is important. Regulating your emotions is so important. My good friend Whitney is actually having a new thing, a retreat. I'm going to be posting about soon. I think it's for 9 to 12-year-olds, and I think this is so important, and I wish I had something like this when I was a kid. It's for mothers and daughters, like, to go and really talk about emotional regulation and, like, confidence and self-worth and things, and it's like a day-long thing. And I think, like, our generation gets a lot of shit for being too soft, but I think when we're willing to learn how to be better, like, each day, like, I think that's just not being soft, it's being, you know, smart.
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, just to wrap it up, because I had all these questions, but you did really well at you did kind of go down the list of them. So So here, let me ask you, I guess, these kind of last two questions. What is the best advice you have received that you feel has helped you on a day-to-day? So obviously we have start over,
Yeah.
in terms of what you've been able to put together for your family to kind of help reset everything.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've gotten that you kind of fall back on sometimes that helps you?
I think, honestly, it's just one day at a time. And my mom started that when I was in second grade. I was the only kid who wasn't getting like student of the month or student of the week, and I was so upset. Like everyone kept getting it, and why wasn't I getting this award? And I was always talking. Now, I was always the one getting in trouble for talking. Everyone was talking, but I always got caught.
Gotcha.
Mrs. Marsico in second grade. And I used to come home like defeated, like why I can't. And that's when my mom started saying, just take one day at a time, just for today, focus on, A, B, and C to do this. And I've really taken that into my life, because that's all, sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. And then if you're lucky enough to be able to wait, like the next minute, like I told you about the game, the next minute could be great. So you can, and sometimes it's emotional whiplash, like 1 minute is just so terrible. But if you just, it's just 1 minute or one day at a time. And I think the advice that she gave with that, I don't think she knew that it was going to take me through life, but that's all we can do is one day at a time.
Right.
Like, so I think that's probably the best advice that I've ever received.
Okay. So I know we've talked about all these moments about what is, the traumas and the things that we've gone through, but, listening to you, I feel like there's so much that you've endured, and you're really trying to develop yourself on a daily basis from the different things you say that you do, from the tapping, the different things you've learned, the career path that you were in, to now having completely removed yourself from that to be here.
Yeah.
That I'm curious, what are you most proud of personally, family-wise? Whichever one comes to mind first. I'd like to hear both.
I mean, family-wise, I would say my marriage. I mean, Jamie and I have been together for 20 years. Will be our 18th wedding anniversary in September.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you. Which is, I think about a lot of my friends now who their marriages have dissolved or they've had really tough situations, or some of them are for the better and some it wasn't so great. And I think Jamie and I have been through an enormous amount in our short, in our young age. Like,
so you got together early 20s. You said 41, so you were 20 years
yeah,
old.
so I was 19 when I started dating him.
Okay.
We got married when I was 24. He was 27. And yeah, I think we've taken the never give up thing very seriously. And I mean, we've been handed a lot of shit. I mean, I've put him through a lot of stuff in the past, like, going through my own traumas and having it come out in unhealthy ways. Dealing with everything with Owen is, I mean, the statistics of marriages dissolving because of special needs children are huge. His career, I mean, he runs a restaurant company, and it's hard. The hours are hard, and it's tough and it's left me alone a lot. But I think we've just committed, and we love each other, and we just, this is what it is. I can't imagine doing it without him. So I think I'm really proud of the work we've put in. I mean, it's not always perfect, like, we're people, but I think we never really fight about us. It's more just we take some of the stress, but I think it's just important to kind of practice what we preach, like, of respect and not giving up. Like, this is it, and so I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of family-wise. And it's just a good example for our kids too, like, so yeah. And then personally, I mean, I've fought in 3 boxing fights, so
nice.
I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, I was really sad that I lost my last one. But yeah, like, that's kind of a whole, like, other thing, but it's, kind of surreal when I think about it. Like, Jamie and I are both boxers, and that's kind of cool. And it's definitely like a stress reliever. It causes a lot of stress, but
I love MMA. I love all that stuff. So you're talking to a huge fan of the
yeah.
sports.
I mean, it's meant for crazy people like us. Like, it's just, fighting for fun is crazy. But I absolutely love our gym. The people there are
Sunny's
family.
Fitness, is that what I saw?
Sunny's in Middleton, Sunny's
Yeah.
Boxing and Fitness in Middleton. You know, we're all close, and it's, you know, it's not just like a cookie cutter gym. We're all a family. We all have our own stories and backstories and day-to-day stuff, and they've all been really loving and supportive to us with everything we've gone through, and we the same for us with them. So it's really cool. I mean, I recommend boxing to anyone, but especially if you can go to a place like Sunny's. It was really instrumental for Jamie's stress too, and I think like people don't realize, like, well, you know, but like the stress special needs parents have, and like we need to get it out somewhere. So boxing's really good for that, and it's something to challenge myself. And I thought I was going to be done after my last one, but then I lost. So I was going to be 3-0 and then retire, and now.
You want to
Can you
leave
tell
on a
I'm not
W? You
over
want to
it?
leave on
I'm
a
like,
W?
ah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
I got second place in the jiu-jitsu match. I watch it and I'm still kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
like why did I do that? Like,
I know, we're
you know,
not the as long as everyone has fun people.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
wanna
no,
win.
no. I leave that and I'm
It's
just
just
like, my
about winning.
girlfriend just watched me get choked out.
It's tough,
yeah.
but
I definitely get
Thea
it.
was at my losing fight. She was at my winning fight too. She cried so much. I felt so bad. But it's like, you know, someone has to lose. As I'm like, not me. You know.
Yeah.
You have to be
It's
like,
all right, but it's okay. Yeah.
okay,
I get it. I
Oh,
definitely do.
So yeah, that's what I'm proud of too.
Sweet. Well, Kate, it's
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you
This
for
was
having me in your home.
fun.
Yeah. And if I could say anything, start a vlog. I
Okay.
think when you're talking about the stuff that you're talking about and trying to figure out what you want to do for business,
Yeah.
I think given what you have going on, getting behind a camera, since it's so easy for you when you're saying I can talk for an hour and then I have to, I think it might be something that could help a lot of people.
Yeah. Thank you for saying
Yeah,
that.
of
Maybe
course.
I will. Actually, you're not the first person who said that, but it's the starting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just grab a phone.
Thank
That's
you
it.
so much.
All right,
That
everybody.
was so fun.
Party Science. See you all later. Kate Pollock.
Pollock.
I'll add her social media so you can all
Thank
follow
you.
her. Latest.